what did I read in January? Let's get into it. In January, I read 11 books. 4 of them were physical, the rest were audiobooks. Not all of them have I finished, but let's go through in no particular order. Let's just start with the audiobooks. A Strange and Stuff and Endurance and All These Hidden Paths. You will know, if you've been watching it, that I stayed up late finishing this. I lost my shit. I was possessed. I am still missing the characters, and I've read quite a few books since I finished those, and I'm still sitting here like Felicen and Katari. Yes, it's a romantasy. I know I'm an epic fantasy reader, but I've been in my fluff era, so which is why I just gravitated towards romantasy books. I wanted it. Okay, I felt it. I wanted it. I took it, and it did take me by storm. So, what is Strange and Stuff and Endurance? I have got a review up, but it's basically the premise of the book is there's an arranged marriage with another kingdom, but as soon as they discover that the guy they're saying to marry into the kingdom has a liking for men, they suddenly decide to change the rules and... Well, not really the rules, but they basically just, instead of him marrying the woman that he was said to go marry, he's now marrying the man. And it's a romance and blues from there. The country that he came from doesn't like, it's very homophobic. But the country that the guy is going to, Velisen's going to, is not, and it's how their love blooms. At the beginning, there is definitely some, like, sexual assault kind of thing going on, right? It's not completely gratuitous, it's not... But it is there. He was taken advantage of. So if that's the thing, don't read it. But the way that Falls Meadows handles this went really, really well. But they basically didn't brush it off. Velison, I felt with Velison as he was trying to deal with that PTSD, and then the relationship blooming around that, and how Kasari was just caring, and then on top of all of that there is somebody who's trying to kill Velison at the same time and trying to make it like it's Kathari who's doing it, which is just secrets and stuff. And then in book 2 they go even deeper, it goes more political and things start to unwind a little bit, and I don't really want to go more deeper into book 2 necessarily because spoiler, but I will say that there was a character in there that isn't Velison or Kasari that I remember reading what was going to happen with the plot, got to that point and I was like, oh no, actually Falls Meadows has dealt with that trope really, really well and I liked it, and it's a trope I hate. But it's also a character I really, really like, and it does get a little bit into BDSM on the spicy side, so if that's not your thing, that's not your thing, but I highly recommend you watch it, read it. I'm just obsessed. Talking of romance, I read A Restless Truth and The Power Unbound, which is book 2 and 3 in the Marvelous Light series. Does this actually have the Last Binding trilogy? So you get book 1, which is Marvelous Light, book 2, A Restless Truth, and book 3, Power Unbound. I mean, look at this. Look at it. It's stunning. I mean, there's no end pages, which I like, but it's gorgeous, it's stunning. It is sitting this book is sitting at the top of my year so far. Power Unbound is sitting at the top read of the year, and it's going to take a lot to kick it off because I loved the characters in this. I put off reading the book 2 because I'd heard that it wasn't that good, and I was like, oh, I won't read it. But then I was in my fluff era and I went, oh, do you know what, just get the audiobook. I think it was on sale, so I already had it. I was like, let's just read it. Loved it. I was like, people don't like this. What is going on? It's like you're on a boat and you're thinking like Titanic shit, right? Except it doesn't do what the Titanic did. They're trying to discover a murder. And there's all sorts of things but then you get introduced to Jack Hawthorne. Jack Hawthorne. I was asexual as anything, but even I'd swooned for him. Like, I am not joking. These are like bite-sized murder mysteries kind of thing going through these books, but they kind of do connect. Like the mystery flows from book 1 to book 2 to book 3, and it comes to a really good conclusion here. And I loved the relationship in this. Hawthorne and Ross took me by storm. I immediately put this book down and I immediately went, I want to pick it back up again. Their relationship, their dynamic, how everything kind of worked, how the chemistry was just there, and the betrayal, but also there was a betrayal, but then the other person, not gonna say who was what, was like, I know you there's a reason behind this, I'm not blaming you for any of this, and everything is going, and it's just it's beautiful, it is lovely, it is perfection. It is perfection, okay? Just absolute perfection, and you cannot convince me otherwise. But go pick these books up, because these just warm my fluffy little heart. These little romance books. This is how romantasy should be done. So if you're wanting to try romantasy, or you've had enough of romantasy thinking they're not doing it right, these books will do it for you. Then I read Breeze, Spells and Bridegrooms, which was cute. It was cute. If you want a cute little romance, read this. So this is Bridgerton, but it's set in a fantasy world with elves. I don't know how else to describe it to you. This is basically what it is. My only complaint is I kind of wish there was more of a build-up going through it, and more of back and forth of like enemies to lovers kind of thing, because they kind of came around a little bit too quickly for my taste, from being enemies suddenly lovers. But basically, there's these two characters who hate each other, who I've completely forgotten their characters' names. One of them's chubby and human, another one is an elf and stuck up. You see where this is going. Like in Bridgerton, there's a gossip column, and somebody put out this gossip column who basically insinuated that they were suddenly getting married. None of their families knew, nothing was going to happen, and instead of suddenly risking the scandal of cancelling everything, they went along with it. And the chubby little guy is just so awkward, maybe a little bit neurodivergent, but also like cute and sweet and innocent, and everything's going on, and it's just amazing. And then you have like the big guy, you know, the elf, who's the big badass and actually is not, and then they're sort of working together as well for this experimentation, because humans and elves, there's that conflict that they don't work together all the time, and it was so cute. It's the absolute cutest, and like there's not a lot of conflict in this book. If you just want a book where you just know the couple is just going to learn to grow in love and they're in love, right? There's no third act breakup. There's no this happening. It's just them, and it's them learning and growing and thinking, shit, we're going to go through with this. And it's so cute. I cannot express how cute this is. And if you just want to feel warm and fuzzy inside, you pick this up. It's kind of cozy. It is kind of cozy. Like, you know, and Anyway, I need to stop gushing about this book, because it's just the absolute cutest. And there is a book too which I really want to read. It's from the gossip column's point of view, and another elf, and I'm just I need to calm down. I also read In the Shadow Garden, which was fine. It was a recommendation from a friend, because I did put out like I'm in my romance era, but they also know I'm not fully into romance, but it's the right kind of romance I want. And there was definitely more plot. It's not really witches, but there is the allegory of like these people can grow things from the garden, and it can help people, and they can take people's pain, but they can also take too much and stuff like that. And it's told from a point of view of various people, and I kind of wish they'd narrowed it down a little bit and just kept it to a couple of points of view. And it's not like it's overwhelmingly with, you know, all these points of views, but it's just like 1 or 2 points of views from these people rather than 5 or 6, right? It was good. There was somebody who's taking people's memories and figuring out who had done it. Rivalries and people, and somebody who's out there for power and, you know, wanting to take it no matter what's going to happen. There was bad people going through. There's all sorts. There's very much a lot on the relationships, because it's kind of a small town as well. So it's like, well, you did this, I broke up with you because you cheated all the time, and all of this kind of going on. So there's already that kind of tension, and then there's a daughter who'd grown up, everything going on. But it was cute. It was okay. I didn't love it. I kind of just, I don't know, something was just missing, but I did enjoy it. So otherwise I would have just DNF'd it, but I did enjoy it. If you're going into it for the romance side of it, don't read it. If you're going in for the plot side of it, it'd be kind of fun. Because I'd argue this kind of isn't really romance, because there's nothing really building up to it necessarily. So anyway, it was fun. Read A Fire in the Sky, and that is another romance book that did it well. This is what the Fourth Wing should be, and I say that having never read it. because I've seen snippets of it. I've seen so many people online talking about it, and even people who love it go, yeah, it's not very well written. This is well written. The characters are well developed. Yes, there's dragons. The premise of this book is basically someone is forced to marry this big bad guy, right? And instead of her sister's doing it, she's doing it because she's used as the whipping girl, which is a thing. My one critique of this is they say that she's tanned skinned, and for me, I don't look at that as being a person of colour, because I think that's a cop out. You just say someone's tan skin, they're not a person of colour. That's a complete cop out. You say they're black, or you say they're you know, I don't even know what the right term is for having someone who's not as, you know, black as black, but you know what I mean. You just say it, you make it completely obvious. You don't say he's slightly tan skinned. But if they were intending, the author was intending for that to be like that, I was like, it's kind of telling a little bit of a, why would you have the one character be the whipping girl? Right? I know it's a thing that happens in the past, but why that character? Why that specific demographic? But as I said, I generally don't think they were, because they just said tanned, and I just generally think if everybody just says tanned, I'm not going to believe that they're black. I'm just not. I'm not. In my head, they're just not. They're just somebody who's been out in the sun for a long time. Okay, she is forced to marry this prince, king, person, bad guy. And they have a night of unbridled passion. And obviously he then discovers the ruse, because he doesn't know who's marrying this person. He thought it was one of the other daughters, and everything. Anyway, he sticks with guns, but she's keeping secrets from him. They start travelling over the place, and then she starts to figure out what her secrets are and hiding it even more. And it's just kind of, the chemistry is still there. Like, it's so there, but there's also plots alongside of it. There's immaculate world building. Like, oh my god, it's not like a little bit info dumpy, but nowhere near the extent of some other fancy books I've read. You know, it's woven in really, really well. It's not like someone just constantly asking questions because you also cannot think of a better way to get the information across, so the character comes across as dumb as shit. It's done well. It's done really, really well. So I enjoyed it. I am frothing at the mouth for book 2 because I kind of liked how it ended. There was a bit of a critique for me of like how it ended. It's kind of like, I liked the dragon trope that kind of got switched by genders. That's all I'm going to say about it. But there's something at the end that's kind of, maybe it didn't really happen like that. But I liked it. I want book 2. I will be getting book 2 as soon as it drops. I also read Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I cried. I love TJ Klune. You can say what you want about him, like or dislike him. I don't think I've read a book of his that I just haven't liked. Like, In the Lives of Puppets and Under the Whispering Door, I found were fine, okay? I think I rated them like 3.75, 4 stars. They were entertaining. But House in Cerulean Sea and Somewhere Beyond the Sea, 5 stars. Perfection. I forgot how much I love this world. I forgot how much I kind of relate to the children of being ostracised and looked down on just for being different. But I love the dynamic TJ Klune. He got this so well, that found family of the children, Arthur and Linus, Arthur and Linus, how their relationship, how they were just there for the children the whole time, how they just loved them, how they were just welcoming. And Chauncey, fucking Chauncey, I can spray ink now. I love Chauncey, the little bellhop. The children are just there, and everything that's going on, and there are a little bit more stakes in this because Arthur is basically going across the sea, if you will, to talk to the government to explain that, you know, no one's in a danger. That's why they got these kids and all of this stuff. But it's already been rigged against him because there's one person in government power who just doesn't want them to have the children, doesn't want this and all, and yeah, that's what it's like. So, but how the story unfolded, how everything came about, how the characters and the old characters came, and it's just, if you are hesitant to start this because you loved House in Cerulean Sea so much and you don't want this to taint that, trust me, it doesn't. It worked well. It was so well done, and it just warmed my little heart so much, and I cried at the end, and I just, Chauncey and even Lucy and Fee and everything going, all the children, I love them. Everybody just needs to go read these books. They're perfect. Another perfect book was Miss Percy's Pocket Guide Book 3. I know. I read this. This is the first book I finished in January. I did start it in December, but I finished it in January, and I love this. This is a book 3 of a trilogy, a last trilogy. I have a suspicion we might have more, but so far it's a trilogy. And the book 1 is basically Mildred, spinster Mildred, in her 40s, has stumbled across or is inherited a dragon egg that didn't realise was a dragon egg, and what hatches a dragon. She has no idea what's going on, and is trying to go around the countryside, in a little quaint village, trying to stop this little dragon from wreaking havoc. And there's a nice little sweet cinnamon roll vicar who helps her. I love those two together. I love them so much. Even in book 3, and in book 3 they are forced to take the dragons back to London to talk to the king, Prince King, and how he's just, I mean, you would expect, who would, like, you think you're gonna go meet a king, right, or a prince, and you just know they're gonna be a pompous twat, and he was, but the way Mildred handled it was very, very well done. How everything, maybe more dragons were hatching, save more eggs, save everything, everything sort of is just cozy, but also so full of stakes, and you're sitting there worried, like, she's going to lose her dragons, what's going to happen, what's happened to her niece, how everything's going, but how it ends up. And I never knew the antagonist in book 1 I'd end up loving in book 3. I know, but it was just, if you have not read Miss Percy's Pocket Guide books yet, they are just absolutely fucking incredible. Please, just go read it. I am now going to talk about the one DNF that spiked a massive argument. Lonesome Dove. I know, if you love this book, totally fine, cool, coots to you. The violence against women could not do it. This is riddled with violence against women. I DNF'd page 164. I didn't like the fact that the only female main character we had read had been great a lot of the time, even though, like, from the narrative it was kind of expected and didn't come across as if that was what happened, but that definitely is what happened. And she then became a whore. And then I just stopped after talking to some friends who were reading the book. So I was reading the book with some friends, and they were like, yeah, no, bail out. I'm like, we're ahead of you. It doesn't get any better. I was like, okay, cool. I then read the summary, and I got filled with so much female pufferfish rage that if it wasn't a library book, I'd burn it. Yeah, because it just gets worse and worse and worse, and there is not one female character that isn't a whore or hasn't been sexually assaulted in that book. I noped out so fast. And some people who love this book didn't like that. Well, that's a you problem, okay? People, you can love this book. I don't give a shit, okay? Just respect my decision of not wanting to read about violence against women when it's every single fucking woman. And if you're going to come to the argument that it's like, oh, but true to the times, that isn't true to the times, because not every woman had that. There are better ways of showing women who do not have a voice or do not have power than just having a men, whatever, take control over her and use her and have her be a service to men. There are better ways, but I'm not going to argue about this anymore. That was my one DNF. Never going to read that. Nope. It can burn in hell. I then moved on to the Dragonbone chair. I have a review of this. This is long. This is very, very fucking long, right? But I did enjoy myself. I had fun. So, what is Dragonbone chair about? It's very political. It's a lot of travelling. A hell of a lot of travelling. But you follow Simon, and quite a big chunk of, like, the first part, you're struggling to think, where's the plot going to start? Where is it? Because my friend messaged me because he knew I'd just finished it. He said, when does it get good? And it's about chapter 13. It's kind of when the inciting incident is. And then Simon flees. He sees something he's not meant to see. He flees. He's on his own. I don't think he's autistic, but he has very autistic traits. He did get on my nerves a little bit through this because he's complaining the whole time. I understand he's 16, right? I get that. But when it's mainly from his POV and stuff happens and you think, oh, you've grown, he will come back and be like, oh, my life is so hard. And I'm like, dude, get over it. Right? But I did enjoy it. I love Prince Joshua. having read as many fantasy books I've read, knowing this was published in the 80s, I went into Pin Joshua thinking, oh, he's going to be the evil prince. How was I wrong? I was so wrong. And I like that I was wrong. But I love the characters. I loved how they sort of came together. I love what happened at the end, especially with Simon, which makes me really want to pick up book 2 right now. I'm in this epic fantasy thing, but I can't at the moment. I'm going to have to wait a week. I enjoyed it. It was long. This is 916 pages. It was long, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun. It did nothing particularly new. I can see where George R. R. Martin got his inspirations from A Song of Ice and Fire in this. But it was entertaining. It was fun. I had a good time. I was surprised. I also read The Maleficent 7, which this is a book I'd recommend to you if you're here for a fun time, not a thought time. This is something that I would gravitate towards when... I've got a bookmark in here. Did not know that. This is something I would gravitate towards when I just want to not think for a bit. When I just want to enjoy a nice little story, right? I don't want a big epic fantasy. I just want something that's just fun, right? Kind of like Dungeon Draw Carl fun, just that kind of thing. This is like Kings of the World, but done way better. This is Regathering the Troops, and it's trying to stop a zealot army of taking over, and they stand in this one town. There's the Black Heron who abandoned all these people ages and ages ago with one battle last about to fight, and they couldn't do it, and she just wanted to leave, and she left to start a life, to live in this little village, and people didn't know she was Black Heron. There's a vampire in this, there's a necromancer, there's a god, there's all sorts of things going on. There were things that were done so well. It's a standalone. The battle scenes were done really well. I kind of wish there was a little bit more character moments between like the god and a couple of other characters. That would make what happened at the end hit a bit harder, but I definitely liked it. I liked how it concluded. It was a ball of fun. It was a ball of fun. This is my second Cameron Johnson's novel. I read his other one, The Traitor's God, and again that was a ball of fun as well. So yeah, highly recommend you pick that up. Those are the books I read. I am carrying this through into February. I've already finished one February book. Maybe 2 by the time you watch this, because I'm hoping to have this done by the time you watch it. Yes, by the time it's uploaded. So I'm carrying that on into February, and Ink's Blood Sister Scribe, which I have about an hour and a half left. I was reading that for a book club I'm in. So, and I'm enjoying that one. That is what I read in the month of January. It was a good month. It was a good month. It was a smutty month, but it was a good month. And I'm not complaining. So, here's to hoping that it's going to be as good in February. Let me know what you read in this month. And if you decide to pick any of the books up I just blathered on about for way too fucking long.